Under the best of circumstances, Los Angeles Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert would be facing a tough test from the Pittsburgh Steelers' powerful pass rush on Sunday night. Being without a proven starting left tackle after Joe Alt suffered a season-ending high ankle sprain last week will make things that much more difficult. As long as the season is, and as much adversity as we might deal with, the mission never stops, Herbert said. The Chargers, 6-3, had big expectations coming into the year that the pairing of Rashawn Slater and Alt would drive one of the best offensive lines in football. But Slater tore his patellar tendon in August, and now Alt is done after sustaining a second injury to his right ankle in a 27-20 win at the Tennessee Titans. That leaves Los Angeles choosing from 4 players in Trey Pipkins III, Austin DeCoulis, Jamari Salyer, and Trevor Penning to fill its 2 tackle spots against the Steelers, 5-3. Penning started practicing with the Chargers on Wednesday after being acquired from New Orleans at the trade deadline on Tuesday, going from one of the worst teams in the NFL to another pushing for the playoffs. Los Angeles Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert, 10, is sacked by Tennessee Titans linebacker Jihad Ward, 53, during the second half of an NFL football game Sunday, November 2, 2025, in Nashville, Tennessee. AP photo/George Walker 4. Pretty crazy overnight, you get 5 more wins, so it's pretty crazy, Penning said. Penning was a first-round pick by the Saints in 2022 and has experience at right tackle and left guard. He also played left tackle in college at Northern Iowa. His first day with the Chargers had him working at both left tackle and right tackle to give the coaching staff a sense of where he might fit best. It's definitely challenging at first, Penning said. It's like writing backwards. You rewriting with your left hand versus your right hand, so it just takes time, a lot of work at it. Whichever 2 tackles get to start will have to deal with the Pittsburgh defense that seems to be coming together after an uncharacteristic start, getting 5 sacks in a 27-20 win over the Indianapolis Colts. Edge rushers T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith combined for 3 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. The Steelers kept the NFL's highest-scoring offense in check by forcing the Colts into 6 turnovers, including 5 from Indianapolis quarterback Daniel Jones. Beyond the takeaways, however, Pittsburgh's 30th-ranked defense believes it took a significant step forward after getting torched recently by Green Bay's Jordan Love and Cincinnati's Joe Flacco. Taking a simpler approach helped. A season-ending knee injury to safety Deshaun Elliott forced Pittsburgh to keep versatile Jalen Ramsey exclusively at one safety position, with newly acquired Kyle Duggar at the other safety spot. The result was less confusion and fewer mistakes, something the Steelers believe is sustainable in a way creating a half-dozen turnovers on a weekly basis is not. Coach Tomlin is always saying you get turnovers when you fundamentally sound and in the right spot, cornerback Joey Porter Jr. said. I feel like a lot of players were in the right spot last week. Tomlin felt Pittsburgh caught a break in last season's 20-10 win over Los Angeles, as Herbert was knocked out of the game in the third quarter, with the score tied at 10 after aggravating a high ankle sprain. It allowed us to do some things schematically that you somewhat hesitant to do if he has full mobility, Tomlin said. I think it nailed him down in the pocket some, and probably limited some of the things they choose to do schematically. The Steelers saw a full-strength Herbert in 2021 when he had 382 yards passing, 90 yards rushing, and threw a game-winning 53-yard touchdown in a wild 41-37 victory for the Chargers. 9 different players have caught touchdown passes this season for Pittsburgh, and 8 different players have at least 100 yards receiving. No other team in the NFL checks both of those boxes. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers, decision-making and offensive coordinator Arthur Smith's creative personnel groups and never-ending shifts and motions have compensated for the lack of a true number 2 receiver to put opposite DK Metcalf. Metcalf, who is on pace for just 61 receptions, believes he'll find more space going forward as Calvin Austin III, Roman Wilson and tight ends Pat Freiermuth and Jonnu Smith become more productive. Jonnu, Calvin, defenses, got to honor those guys sooner or later, Metcalf said. Both Tomlin and Rodgers expressed their appreciation for veteran Chargers safety Derwin James Jr., with Tomlin calling him just the straw that stirs the drink for them. He plays high safety, the half-field safety, quarter safety, big nickel, dime linebacker, Rodgers said. He can do it all. I mean, He's one of the top players in the league, and he can do it in multiple positions. He can blitz, he can cover, he can tackle. I mean, he's one of the more impressive players you see on film. The Pittsburgh Steelers were unexpectedly quiet at the NFL trade deadline. Despite concerning needs at wide receiver and cornerback, General Manager Omar Khan couldn't strike a deal the team was comfortable with to upgrade some needy positions. Of course, the Steelers are 5-3, holding some substantive control over their destiny heading into the back stretch of the regular season. But that doesn't mean that fans want the team to cruise through November and December with two glaring weaknesses. So, since the trade deadline has passed, there aren't many opportunities for the Steelers to make those upgrades. With slim pickings in the free agency pool, here are two players the Steelers could kick the tires on to see if they can help strengthen those weak spots on the roster. Pittsburgh Steelers' trade deadline silence leaves two intriguing free agent opportunities. Cornerback Asante Samuel Jr. A shoulder injury and back surgery have kept Asante Samuel Jr. off the field since last October, but he's healthy and ready to join up with a contender. The Steelers are one of several teams he is scheduled to meet with over the next week. Pittsburgh will be his last stop, so the Steelers will have the benefit of being the last impression. That doesn't make signing Samuel a guarantee by any stretch. Three-quarters of the NFC North and the San Francisco 49ers also have their eyes on bringing him in, and each needs the help at cornerback just as badly as Pittsburgh does. Still, Samuel fits the Steelers' defense well and was a strong player before his injury setbacks took him off the radar. At just 26 years old, signing him could lead to a long-term fix at the position instead of just a quick Band-Aid. The pairing of Samuel and Joey Porter Jr. on the outside with Brandon Echols in the slot and Jalen Ramsey and Kyle Duggar manning the safety positions is a tantalizing group. Steelers fans will have to wait patiently to see if Samuel does choose Pittsburgh. If he goes elsewhere, then there aren't any exciting options in the free agent pool who could step into a starting role and immediately contribute to the betterment of the defense. Wide receiver Tyler Boyd. Once upon a time, former Cincinnati Bengal and Pitt Panther Tyler Boyd was talked about as a potential target for the Steelers quite often. Those days have passed, but after Pittsburgh failed to bring in a WR2 option via trade, Boyd remains a veteran option in the free agent pool who could be an option for the team. Of course, Pittsburgh already signed Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and considering his experience with Aaron Rodgers, it might not be long before he's off the practice squad and running 9 routes for the Steelers' offense to stretch the field. Still, the wide receiving core in Pittsburgh is lacking even if MVS comes up to the main roster. Boyd didn't do much with the Titans last year, his first season out of Cincinnati, but that's understandable given the state of that franchise in recent years. Besides, Boyd is more of an underneath option compared to Valdes-Scantling's deep threat ability, which might be more valuable to Pittsburgh considering how quickly Rodgers gets the ball out of his hands. He'll turn 31 this month and hasn't played since last season. He said during the offseason he'd be open to joining the Steelers despite playing for the rival Bengals for nearly a decade. He's not an answer for the WR2 void, but he's a lot better than his 2024 season would indicate, and a chance to join a contender like Pittsburgh could help him revitalize his career while improving the Steelers' offense. If there's one thing the Pittsburgh Steelers and Las Vegas Raiders have in common, it's a major question mark at quarterback beyond this season. The Steelers signed 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers in the offseason, and while the returns in the first half of this season have been positive, there's no telling if Rodgers will play another year, as he's already hinted he could retire. Pittsburgh did draft a quarterback, but Will Howard, a 6th-round pick, remains a total wild card and is unlikely to see the field in 2025, so it's tough to gauge where he is in his development and if he can take over in 2026. In Las Vegas, the Raiders tried to avoid a rebuild and decided to bring Geno Smith in rather than drafting a signal caller, but Smith has been an utter disaster this season, and there is no long-term hope on the roster behind him. Knowing all that, Bleacher Report's Mo Moton believes the Raiders and Steelers will have interest in trading for Arizona Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray, who Moton believes could fetch multiple future first-rounders in a trade. Murray, whose contract carries another year of guaranteed money, would be an ideal fit for a squad that needs a quarterback but isn't in a position to draft a top prospect. Murray has been dealing with a foot injury that landed him on injured reserve, and in that time many have wondered if the Cardinals were using the foot injury as an excuse to hide the fact they're benching the veteran signal caller for Jacoby Brissett, who has actually provided an upgrade under center. While we can't say for sure that's happening, it's fair to wonder if the Cardinals might be willing to part with Murray in 2026. The Cardinals are in last place in the ridiculously competitive NFC West in year 3 of Gannon's tenure, ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reported this week. But the growing sense around the league is that, even if they miss the playoffs and get to the end of the season without Murray proving he can be their QB of the future, the Cardinals are likely to give Gannon and GM Monty Ossenfort a chance to stick around and pick their own QB. Murray was in place and signed long-term when they got there. We would cancel the Raiders out of a possible pursuit of Murray, mostly because the expectation is they're going to stick with Smith for another season. We would also expect Las Vegas to draft a quarterback of the future early. The Steelers are more likely to make this kind of move because they'll probably still be in win-now mode given the age of their roster and the franchise's overall reluctance to ever rebuild with Mike Tomlin at the helm. Pittsburgh will likely be sitting somewhere in the middle of the first round or later in the draft, so the top quarterbacks will be out of reach. If Rodgers retires, you can bet your bottom dollar the Steelers will be looking for a veteran to start in his place, which puts a trade for Murray on the table. However, the fact that Murray comes with a $230 million contract that runs through 2028, and given his struggles this season and lack of playoff success, we just don't see Arizona getting multiple first-round picks for Murray's services, and the Steelers should not pay that price, either. If that's what Arizona is looking for and remains steadfast in getting it, there aren't going to be many, if any, teams interested in acquiring Murray.